What's up, idols? It's CC Lesson 3. Welcome back to my channel. I am so sorry. First, I'm gonna briefly explain to you guys why I've been gone for over a week. I was in the hospital last Monday, and if you want to skip the medical scare, health scare, I'll put like chapters in the bottom so you can skip straight to the story. So, for those who are concerned, for the past 5 years or so, I've been getting like these sharp stabbing pains near my heart. And according to Google, I've always assumed it to be either like pericarditis, pleurisy, or angina. Last Sunday, November 5th, was Remember the 5th of November. If you guys have seen V for Vendetta, then you know who Guy Fawkes is. I've never seen the movie, but I know it talks about him. So they have like a bonfire night and fireworks and stuff. I was out with friends, having a good old time. We were drinking, walking, eating, just having fun. But when I came home and I was on the train, I noticed like a stiffness in my left shoulder, like it was painful. And then when I got off the train, that pain kind of shot and spread down to the same chest pain that I've been getting on and off for the past 5 years. But normally that pain goes away after like 5 to 10 minutes tops. I decided to go to the hospital on Monday because I woke up with the pain still there. So at this point it's been hours. Basically, to alleviate yourself of the pain or relieve yourself, you have to take like short, shallow breaths, because if you take a normal inhale or like even a deep breath, then it hurts a lot. So because according to Google, I was like, it's definitely pericarditis or pleurisy. And I thought it might be inflammation, and I know ibuprofen helps with inflammation, so I went to the pharmacy, got some ibuprofen, took that, no relief, so I was like, fuck it, let me just go to the hospital and find out once and for all what this could be. We got to the hospital a little bit after 4:30. About an hour later, I got an EKG or an ECG if you're here in the UK, and they told me all my heart stuff looked good, which is very relieving because my mom has a heart condition that's really rare, and I thought maybe that was related to what I was feeling, but that wasn't the case. And then about an hour and a half later, they did my blood work, and I had to wait maybe another 2.5 to 3 hours. And they told me that according to my blood work, there's a little bit of infection or something going on that I'm fighting right now. After I finally got to see a doctor, he thought it was like a muscular thing, but I told him like I can stretch and lift things. It's not muscular, it's like inside. So then they said, okay, we'll give you an x-ray. So the x-ray came back normal. And then he told me it could maybe be a blood clot. And that was when I got like a health scare, because I know sometimes that requires surgery. He's talking about putting me on blood thinners, but I'm like, I am active, I don't smoke, I rarely drink. There's no way that I have a blood clot at 30. So he said, okay, wait about 40 minutes for these results. Another 80 minutes goes by, and they told me it was pleurisy. So basically, to take ibuprofen and paracetamol, and it'll go away in 3 to 4 days. So I've done that. Tuesday, the pain was pretty much the same. Wednesday, the pain was pretty much the same. Thursday became more of like a cramp rather than like that sharp stabbing pain, but I've also developed a dry cough. Today's the first day I haven't been coughing, but also today's the first day I woke up again with the pain. So I might get a second opinion and go to like a private doctor and maybe get antibiotics, because there is some sort of infection going on in me somewhere, viral, I don't know. But I need to film because I haven't filmed in over a week, and this is not good. Yes, you saw the title of this video correctly. We have another Pregnant in Korea story time for y'all. There's a few reasons she wanted to send this story and send it anonymously. One, after the last pregnancy story time in Korea, she said that she saw a comment that says something like, I'm not totally Delulu, my Korean Oppar exists out there somewhere, and she just wanted to offer her story and her experience to be kind of a bit of a reality check for some of you guys. And the reason she wants to be anonymous is because there was a lot of hate on that pregnancy story time where people were like, you should have got rid of it, he don't love you, this is never gonna work out, you're stupid for doing, like, it was just a lot of negativity and hate. Most people were very fine and very helpful and understanding and supportive, but there was a lot of hate, and she doesn't want to welcome that into her life, so she's going to be anonymous. As always, thank you so much to my channel members. As usual, watch this story until the end, drive up the engagement, leave a like, leave a comment, for the watch, for the algo, for the engagements.
For the watch. For the watch. For the watch. For the watch.
Binge my videos, they're all put together in playlists. There's tons of story times on this channel. Vlogs that I used to do when I was in Korea, I'll be getting back to that in a few months when I go back. Also a lot of rants, because there's a lot of racial and feminine things that you just gotta rant about. Okay, onward with today's story. Again, she wants to be anonymous, so we are gonna call her Violet, because I was watching The Incredibles the other day, and I forgot how much I like that movie. So back in 2017, Violet moved to South Korea. Yeah, this is kind of a throwback a little bit, but it's relevant up until today. It's just crazy because that's when I first got to Korea too. I'm like, damn girl, we could have been friends. Also, forgive me if I'm talking a little fast. I'm trying to beat like sunsets at like 4:10 these days in the UK, and I'm trying to do this as quick as I can. So Violet was 25 back in 2017 when she first moved to Incheon, South Korea to be an English teacher. When she first got there, like the rest of us, she's eager to experience a lot: the nightlife, clubbing, shopping, food, travel, all that good stuff. So she was very excited and just had like adventure on her horizon. She about to bite off a little bit more than she can chew. And she was especially into nature and hiking and the outdoors and stuff. And luckily for her, she found a Facebook group that was all about hiking and camping trips together and making friends through that. So that's where she met a lot of the people that she first knew when she got to Korea. I'm sure Facebook is still really useful. I don't fuck with Facebook. I haven't been on Facebook in years, but back when I first got to Korea, they even made Facebook groups for us based on the province we were teaching in. Like there was a Jeju province, a Gangwon-do province, a Gyeonggi-do, Jeollanam, Jeollabuk. So like you could make friends with people around you. So Facebook, you know, has its pros, but I don't fuck with it. And it was on this Facebook group that Violet met a boy. Now for the sake of the story, we're gonna call him Yusok because, well, he sucks. But of course, you know, when they first met, he was absolutely amazing and everything was amazing because it always starts out so perfect and then shit hits the fan later. So she went to the Facebook group and she made a post like, hey, the weather's supposed to be really nice this weekend. I'm really looking for somebody to join me for a good hike. She said where she was gonna hike and like, you know, comment, let me know if you're interested in joining me. I just feel like I sound so congested. My nose isn't runny or stuffy. I don't know why. I'm sorry. I just hearing my own voice. I hate it. I'm sorry if y'all hate it too. Anyway, usually it's girls who join her on her outdoor excursions, but nobody was biting and there was a guy, Yusok, and she figured him being with her was better than being alone. He seemed like a nice guy. He was also handsome, so that makes it a little bit easier. We do tend to let our guard down around pretty faces. Men and women are guilty of that.
I was tangled up in your drastic ways. Who knew evil girls had the prettiest face?
And she said she didn't think too much about it, like as far as her safety goes, because on the hiking trail she's been on so far, there's always plenty of ajumas and ajashis out there. There's always so many people out there. So she's like, there'd be plenty of witnesses if you ever tried anything. So she wasn't worried about that. She just didn't know how well she'd get along with this dude, because normally it's easier to bond with a girl. So after she decided to like accept his invitation, they began to exchange a bit of information on DMs and getting to know each other. What do you do? Where do you come from? How old are you? How long have you been outdoors? What are some of your favorite trails? Just, you know, small talk so they can get that out of the way online, and in person hopefully have more substantial conversation. So Violet is 25, Yusok is 27, and she says she was used to seeing a lot of like older people on the Facebook group, so seeing someone around her age who was so attractive was a pleasant twist. And she said while talking to him, she could tell his English was really good, and he revealed that he was born and raised in Korea, but he did go to high school and uni in Australia. Who doesn't love a good Aussie accent, eh? Greetings from Dan Under, the outback. Oh, let me stop.
I am disgusted.
Shut the fuck up. Know your fucking place, trash.
And she says she could only imagine how meeting him in person, if he does have an Aussie accent, would make him even more attractive to her.
I'm an Australian YouTube twink turned indie pop star and model turned HBO actor Troye Sivan being played by an American actor who can't do an Australian accent.
So she liked that he was really interested in the outdoors and all that stuff, but he also talked a lot about how much he likes, you know, the nightlife scene in South Korea, particularly in Gangnam. He said he'd show her around one of these days if, you know, they got along. So she had a lot to look forward to. So they exchanged cacaos, everything was very normal and professional, and they were getting ready for this hike together. And one thing that I think might be kind of surprising to people who've never been to Seoul is there's actually a lot of mountains in the area. Like it's a very mountainous country in general. Me and my friends, we did Bukhansan for Seoul back in like 2019. And that was my first time like hiking near Seoul, because I did climb Mount Hallasan when I lived in Jeju. It's a lot of beautiful hikes and mountains and stuff over there. So like if you're into hiking, I highly recommend seeing what there is to do regarding hiking in Korea. So they met at a cafe near the trail because they figured, you know, let's get some snacks, let's have a coffee or something before we head up. She said as soon as she saw him in person, just one look. And one thing that was kind of a surprise for her is as soon as he saw her, he hugged her. And she's not used to that in Korea. You know, normally it's like a little bow and maybe a handshake, but he just went right for the hug. And she was like, oh, okay, you're westernized. So they first had 2 Americanos. It was his treat. She said he was the perfect gentleman. He even got her some hand warmers in case her hands would get cold. This is how you activate them, put them in your pockets and you'll stay warm. And she was like, wow, like he's a beautiful gentleman. This would be a fun hike today. So as they began their hike, you know, he was professional and friendly and sweet, but his questions did become a bit more personal. You know, they already got those questions out of the way when they were talking like in DMs and on Kakao about where are you from, what do you do, how old are you, what are your hobbies, those types of things they got out of the way. So now he moved on to more personal questions like, are you single, what do you look for in a guy, what's your type, who do you like, what were your really personal stuff. He was much more flirty, and he even asked her when the last time she had sex was. To her surprise, she actually felt more shy than anything. You know, such a hot guy asking her such personal questions. And she's like, oh, like, why are you asking me this? I'm flustered. But for her, the priority was the hike. So she changed the topic and asked him, like, can we, hey, what's that? I've never seen this plant before. Like, just trying to talk about anything but my sex life. And she was pleasantly surprised by how knowledgeable he seemed by the plant life. Was it herbology? Harry Potter?
If you're interested in plants, you'd be better off with Goshawk's Guide to Herbology.
Bombastic side eye.
She was pleasantly surprised by how much he seemed to know, and he was like protective, like, oh, don't fall and be careful. And you know, he's really sweet. He got back to normal and less intrusive with personal questions. So once their hike was done, they decided to finish, go to the bottom, and they worked up quite the appetite, and she was craving soup. She didn't know why. She was like, I just needed some soup. They got some more kimbap, because kimbap is fire. But after having fun with each other, Yusuk said, you know, I had a good time with you today. It'd be nice to see you again. Let me try that, and I'll try. I had a nice time with you today.
You better stop!
If you're Australian, I'm so sorry.
Now, yesterday was kind of a warm-up.
또 빌릴 수 있어? 언제 빌려요?
He said he would like to get to know her in a more like casual setting, you know, not something so physical like hiking and where they're just covered up in layers and shit. So he wanted to ask her out on an actual date. And she's been in awe ever since she saw him. So of course she said yes. So during the week, she decided to go shopping with a friend because she wanted to get a new outfit, something that was a little more like girly and cutesy to fit in with the Korean aesthetic. And let's be real, Korean clothes are hella cute. So that's what she did. They went shopping. She was so excited about this date. So now fast forward to the date in question. And she's like, oh, I haven't spent too much time in Gangnam, so you'll have to show me around, because again, she's in Incheon, so she's not really in Seoul. It's not far from Seoul, but two different cities. So this boy took her to this fancy ass dinner, and she was not dressed appropriately for this occasion. He didn't tell her the dress code, he didn't tell her what to bring or what to wear, so she just wore something that made her feel comfortable and cute. Yusuk, however, was dressed up to the nine. Like, he looked great.
And as long as I got my suit and tie, I'ma leave it all on the floor tonight.
She said it was very nice to see him all dressed up because, you know, on the hike, he probably wore like a windbreaker and some khaki cargo pants and backpacks or some shit. So she was like, wow, like, you know, he cleans up nicely in his little formal fit. So at dinner, she did tell him, like, you know, I wasn't expecting something so formal. Like, you know, it's still quiet in here. I wish we could have somewhere where there's music and it's less like stuffy and uptight and we can actually talk and get to know each other. He's like, oh, I'm sorry. I just wanted to, you know, impress you and show you a good place in Korea, leave you with good memories, give you a good meal. He's like, I feel like, you know, I'm not dressed right for this. And he's like, oh, nonsense. You look beautiful. And that made her feel better. And she said, like, the way his smile was lit by the candle on their table, she just melted. So one interesting that came up during their dinner convo that had not come up at any point before, not on Kakao or DMs, not on the hike, he actually lives in Gwangju. Now, if you guys are familiar with Korea's geography, Gwangju is a city in the southern part of South Korea, in the Jeollanam, I believe, province. It's not close to Seoul. You know, you could maybe fly. I'm sure Gwangju probably has an airport, and it will probably be like a 30-minute flight. But if you drive 5 or 6 hours, 5 hours, and if you take the train, maybe like 4, or you take a bus, like 5. So it's not close. So she was like, wow, like, what are you doing up in Seoul so often? And he's like, oh, you know, I come up to Seoul a lot for work. So I'll come up to Seoul for work and get a hotel for a week or so at a time. I trust that y'all know where this is going. A hotel, you say? So as the dinner progresses and the drink starts to flow, Yusuk's like, oh, you know, it's so late and Incheon's pretty far. My hotel is really close if you want to just, you know, it's too late to go all the way to Incheon by yourself. You should just come back to my hotel with me. Props to Violet, because she was like, you know, I had a good time with you, but I don't know you like that yet. I don't really feel comfortable going to your hotel with you. I don't really know you. And he's like, okay, you know, fair. I understand. I'm sorry. I didn't want to be too forward or too suggestive. I didn't mean it like that. That's exactly how you meant it. You ain't fooling nobody. So he said, since we went hiking the first time we met and we went to a very formal dinner the second time, maybe if we meet again, we can do something much more casual, a movie, arcade, meet at Han River or something. And she was like, I love that. That sounds so much more up my speed. So they agreed to meet for a third time. But unfortunately, he lives in Gwangju and he wasn't gonna be due up in Seoul again for work for another like 17 days or so. So they wouldn't be able to see each other for a few weeks. And she said in the meantime, like, the time actually flew by because he kept up with communication. He was always checking in on her, maintaining her interest, asking, what are you doing? How are you today? I can't wait to see you again. Maybe we could do this, this, and this when we meet. So the time flew by. Now it's been 17 days and they're going to Yoido. It was a nice little lunch with a nice view. She said it was like a rooftop area, and I want to know where that was because I love rooftops. But they went in Yoido and he showed her his office building. They ran into one of his colleagues and co-workers, and he was like, oh, this is Violet. Violet, this is my co-worker. So she's like, wow, I'm meeting the homies. You know, that's not nothing. So maybe he is a little more serious with me. But she did say, and I quote, I'm fully aware that most, if not all men want sex. I know they tell you what you want to hear. We know what's BS after the fact, but gauging which is which in real time isn't as easy as y'all like to make it out to be. So they spent the whole day together. They were in Yoido. They went by the river, they did some walking, they did some talking, they had some drinks, they had food, and they spent the whole day together. They met at like noon, and now it's like 7, 8 p.m. And he again is like, you know, my hotel's nearby. She said, you know, when a guy is as attractive as he was and who is such a sweetheart and you guys have so much in common, like she said, finding someone her age who's so into hiking and outdoors is really rare for her in her experience. So they had so much in common. The conversation never felt forced. She enjoyed spending her time with him. So when he suggested this hotel again, some time had gone by, you know, she hadn't seen him in 17 days. She missed him. They were still talking and getting to know each other. She was like, you know what? Yeah, all right, let's see what happens. I will go with you to your hotel. And then she said his response was surprised. And he said, oh, really? You sure you want? Okay, let's go. So they made their way to his hotel room. And her first reaction was just like, oh my God. It was a really nice, bougie hotel. She said like there's a piano in the lobby. Everybody walking around had on suits. Like it was a very, very bougie ass hotel. They got to his room. The view was nice. It had a hot tub. He had a big ass bed, a kitchen, like a little loft space. Like she was just like, shit, I'd move here. We kind of know what's gonna end up happening, right? So she wanted to take a shower first. And she's like, I'm not prepared for this. I didn't bring any clothes. I don't have any of my toiletries, my skincare, my face wash, my makeup to retouch, like nothing.
I have nothing, nothing, nothing.
Can I take a shower? And she explained to him like, I don't have anything to put on. He's like, oh, you know, I can give you something to change into. So she goes into the bathroom and she's trying to take a shower, but she can't figure out how like the hot water and the cold water, like the knobs, like she's just like, I'm so confused. I don't know how this works. It's like multiple shower heads. So she had to call him in to help her. And when he came in, his shirt was already off and she was just like, she could see that he definitely was no stranger to the gym. He had tattoos that she didn't know about. She was like, oh, I can't wait. So then she said before she even realized what she said, oh, maybe you should just join me.
It was at this moment that he knew. He fucked up.
She said it came out like word vomit. She was like, oh, nah, girl, the cat's out of the bag now. He's like, oh, yeah, you know, let's save water. Yeah, I'll shower with you. And to my shock, they did actually just genuinely shower together. She said there was a little bit of kissing and making out, but mostly you get my back, I get yours. Like they actually just showered together. I'm like,
Why the fuck you lying?
so once they got out of the shower, he ordered room service. So they were relaxing in the robes. They had dinner, they had dessert, and then they had actual dessert. And she said, you know, she heard the stereotypes about like Asian men, and she's like, she's never slept with one before, so she didn't know what to expect. She said he was very good with his sonkarak. She was pleased.
I'm quite pleased.
It was a steamy encounter. He even gave her a foot rub after. I'm like, oh, how sweet. So then he asked if she was like in a rush to get back to Incheon and said she should spend the night and said he wanted to cuddle. So of course she's like, yeah. She was kind of worried that he would just kind of like kick her out after they were done. So she was pleasantly surprised and very happy that he wanted her to stay and wanted to cuddle and, you know, have a little bit more of that emotional intimacy. In the morning, however, he did rush her out of the door.
Let's go faster this time. This time, time is of the essence.
He said it was a work thing and he apologized. He said he'd call her back later. She got back to Incheon. She didn't hear from him, so she was a little bit concerned. She didn't hear from him for the rest of the day. The next evening, however, he did call and he explained again and re-apologized and said it was a work thing and he had to get down to work. He was so sorry. So he asked if she was okay, how she was doing, and said that he would absolutely love to see her again if she was like interested. And she was relieved by that because she really was thinking, damn, fucking Chuck, hit and quit, toot and boot. Like she thought she was never going to hear from him again because he got what he wanted ultimately. But she said, you know what, yeah, I would absolutely love to see you again if that's okay. But again, he lives in Gwangju. He only comes up to Seoul periodically for work. So it was going to be another few weeks before he was back up in Seoul for work. So at this point, they kind of had a bit of a pattern going on where he'd go home, but they would still stay in communication. And then when he got up to Seoul, she'd go from Incheon to Seoul and they would meet up and have fun. So they kept this going for around 7 weeks. She said it was Wasn't quite 2 months, but close to 2 months. One day, Violet was shopping in Olive Young and she had a realization that, oh shit, I haven't bought pads or tampons in a while. She didn't have any of the other symptoms associated with pregnancy, no weird cravings, no morning sickness or anything like that. So she was like, oh, maybe it's just like late, whatever, that happens. Cycles are abnormal sometimes. But when she started to tell her friends about it, they were like, girl, you've been raw dogging this dude a few times now. You should take a pregnancy test and or see a doctor. By the way, for some context, the reason that they weren't using protection, he said that he was sterile, but she also told me that he would also pull out. So like, why would you be pulling out if you're also sterile? It can't be both. And again, she's fully aware that you should never raw dog it. Never let any dude talk you into, oh, don't worry about it, I'm sterile. Oh, I'm allergic to condoms. Oh, don't worry about it. Obviously, hindsight is 20/20. It's perfect vision. We know mistakes after they've been made, but in real time, it's a bit harder. So please don't be mean to her, y'all. Like, seriously. So her friends did convince her to go and take a pregnancy test. She took one and it came back negative. So she was like, see, bitches, I ain't pregnant. I told you. They said, girl, you need to take at least 3. Like, some are false negative, some are false positive. And if anything, see a doctor. So she did take 2 more and those 2 tests came back positive.
Fuck.
She's like, look, 1 came back negative, 2 came back positive. What's going on here? Am I pregnant or not? So the doctor confirmed she is absolutely pregnant. Now, this was back in 2017 when abortion in Korea was illegal. She had decided to meet him as normal, not tell him about the fact that she's pregnant, because she wanted to have this conversation with him in person and just sit down like 2 adults and talk about what they're going to do about this. She also wanted to get his opinion and advice because, you know, he's the Korean national, so he might know what they can and can't do. She's a foreigner. So she gets to his hotel room. Yuseok's all excited to see her. He can't keep his hands off her. She's like, we need to have a talk before anything else happens again. So he's like, oh yeah, okay, what's wrong? Are you okay? So she shows him the paperwork from her trip to the doctor that confirmed that she was pregnant. So y'all want to know what this motherfucker said upon viewing these papers for the first time? He said, who's the father?
Oh! Somebody! Oh! He needs some milk!
She said, excuse me? He said, I'm sterile. I can't have kids, so who's the father? It's not mine.
Really, nigga?
She said, Yuseok, you're the only person I've slept with since I've been to Korea. It's yours.
It's yours. Nobody else is. It's yours. It's yours. That's for sure.
And he told her she was lying. Bruh, this is exactly why I don't have sex. This is why I'm 30 and my body count is 3. I don't trust. Maury scarred me for life.
You are the father. You are the father. Who you deny the most.
Not.
You are the father.
I grew up watching Maury, and you know, one time is all it takes, but I'd not stop these dudes from being like, I ain't the baby's dad, she a hoe, man, she's like a doorknob, all the homies get a turn. The way adults can so quickly turn on the switch of denial and run from their responsibilities terrifies me, so no thanks. So Violet told him, like, I'm not thrilled about this either, but we're 2 adults, like, we gotta figure something out. She was also angry with him because clearly this man was not sterile. So then he told her, oh, well, you can just go to your home country and get this taken care of. He wanted her to fly back to the States to get an abortion. She said, I can't afford that. I can't take that time off work. I can't just go fly round trip to the States right now, get an abortion, and come back to work. He said, well, surely that's cheaper than raising a child. So then, you know, she's looking around this nice ass hotel room like, why don't you help me pay for this? And he said, oh, I don't pay for this. My company pays for the hotels I come to every week. So naturally, she's sitting there in shock. She's angry, she's hurt, and she feels very alone in this. He's suddenly so cold and dismissive. Then he told her she should leave his hotel room. Can you imagine? You just told a man who got you pregnant that you are pregnant and he kicks you out of the room. So she said, I can't just leave. We need to figure this out. Like, I'm pregnant. I am a foreign national in Korea. You are Korean. I can't get an abortion. Like, we gotta talk about this. He doubled down and said it's not his problem because it's not his kid. Get out. So she did. She left. When she got home to her apartment in Incheon, she tried to message him on Kakao. He blocked her. She tried to message him on Facebook. He blocked her. She tried to call his number. He blocked her. She couldn't text or call him. She could not get in touch with him at all. She tried everything she could think of. Like, she's like, okay, he showed me his office. I met one of his coworkers. Like, I know where he worked. Like, she tried to get in touch with him. No avail. This is the same guy who put so much effort into seeing her and spending time with her and getting to know her at her pace and hiking and taking her out to a nice restaurant, giving her a foot rub after sex. Suddenly, she don't exist.
He's a phantom.
because she's pregnant now by him. So she told her family about what was going on, and they wanted her to come home to take care of it. She didn't want to do that. She saw this as a blessing now and said, like, even though this isn't ideal, I don't want to get rid of the baby. She said, quote, "To skip over the boring parts, I had a healthy baby boy in 2018. I've been a single mom in Korea ever since. I'm planning to go home 2024, 2025, but I'm hesitant about raising a small child alone in the States because here in Korea, shockingly, has more safety and support, even being a foreign national, than I would get in my home country of the United States of America." She says she's watched the rights for like foreign nationals having kids just shift drastically from 2017 to 2023. There's a lot more services, a lot more help for her, even being a foreign national. She said one thing though, she faces a lot of judgment from the stigma of being a single mom. And that's one thing I never understood. Like, why is there a stigma and judgment for the parent that stays? Shouldn't all that hate and judgment be for the parent that abandoned their responsibility?
Doesn't anyone notice this? I feel like I'm taking crazy pills!
They blame the single parent like, oh, well, they should have been married for... Bro, marriage is a piece of paper. If he or she, if they're gonna leave or cheat, they're gonna do so regardless of what a piece of paper says. But yeah, she got a lot of hate and judgment from being a single, unmarried woman in South Korea raising a baby alone. Instead of the judgment being on this dude who literally said, "Get out of my room." Like, bruh. Anywho, sorry about the mini side rant. So to this day, as of November 2023, she has never heard from him again. She's tried. She's definitely tried. She's never heard from him. She's never seen him again. And you know, she said it's hard to look at her son and not see him because he is half Korean. But she loves her son. She's in love with her son. She hates him. You suck. You suck. I hope you're watching this. Fuck you. Violet. Chingu. Thank you so much for sharing this story. Like, something like this is so fucking personal. But this is what she said. "I wanted to offer a bit of a sobering reality. While some men step up, a lot of them don't. And being Korean origin doesn't change that fact. Don't be delulu for a fuckboy Oppar." You can binge the videos on my playlist. They're about to pop up on the end screen. Thanks for watching if you did. Remember to like, comment, share, and subscribe. And I will see you guys next time. Annyeong.